sir. Yes, sir. Gritty and Wylie show. You already know what it is, man. Now people laugh.
Hottest in the city, yes, Wylie and it's gritty. If you wanna know about the work, tap in with me. Coach B, Wylie,
What's going on? As you can see, we got a different setup and everything like that. So, we got ourselves guests and everything. But, we're back with the podcast. Coach B is out there in Houston with the travel ball team, doing his thing, handling business and everything like that. So, shout out to the boys, clap it up for them, and everything like that. He was supposed to call in, but it's about an hour behind over there. So, he's definitely not calling in. It's early in the morning. He's not calling in or anything like that. So, make sure that you guys like, share, subscribe. As you guys can see, we got some prime time guests on here. We had Mark Oliver on there. I hope y'all, like that video that we had for y'all. I gotta let y'all know though. I know y'all see at the end when I was in that cold plunge. I actually ran it back and I did it for 3:07. So don't think that I chickened out. I had to get the work in, you know what I'm saying? I came back, it was just off camera, you know what I'm saying? So don't think Coach Mike is out here chicking it out. It was cold though. It was about like 38 degrees, bro.
The boys had the Ashton Hall.
Yeah, the Saratoga water. Look, this is the crazy thing about it is probably 2 years ago, man, I was on this water journey. I was always drinking different types of water. And that Saratoga water, I can't cap, it's probably the best water I had. But now everybody go a little too crazy, putting the water in the bowl, you know what I'm saying, the morning. That's what your morning routine be looking like?
Nah.
Because as an early, go-getter, you know what I'm saying, I be trying to figure out, to do different ways to stay locked in and things like that, But yeah, man, it was a great episode and everything like that. So make sure y'all like, share, subscribe. But we got a special announcement for today. My boy Cam is now officially super legal, 21. Happy birthday. How's it feel, man?
I feel good. I'm blessed. See another day. That's the biggest blessing.
Yeah, man. I see. Now, this is the thing. What are you excited about as being a 21-year-old? You know what I'm saying?
I don't know. It kind of feel like the same. It ain't really like.
Yeah, legally it's different.
Legally,
you know what I'm saying? You got
different.
a couple legal things, you know what I'm saying? I know Don P's still in the building, so he's like, hopefully not.
Legally, yeah, but I feel like it's just another day, you know what I'm saying? I'm just really blessed to see 21.
Right. Yeah,
one of my close cousins couldn't even see 21, so.
Condolences. I know a couple people, when I was growing up, wasn't even able to make it there, but now the goal is to get to, 25. That's what Kanye said, you know what I'm saying? So this year I'll be
the goal to get to 100.
Yeah, right. The checkpoints 100 is kind of crazy though. That's kind of crazy. But the thing
you don't think you gonna get to 100?
I don't know if we gonna see. If I'm there and I still want to be, kicking around and everything like that, but at 100. My back hurt right now. So I don't know. My back might be hurting at that point in time. But man, congrats, man. When I was 21, let me see.
Yeah, what you did when you was 21? How old you now?
I'm 24, 25 this year. So I'm not I'm not too much further than you, but y'all generation like to call me uncle.
Yeah, you getting up there.
Don't do that. Don't be like you getting up there or nothing. Because when I'm really there, y'all gonna be like, man, you're ancient. I own it. But when I first turned 21, let me see, because that was a year after the pandemic, so it was stuff opening up and things like that. But
that's right on time.
Right on. So I drank a lot that day. You know what I'm saying? I had a couple. I think I started off with Crown, and I think I ended with Crown. But throughout the day, I was definitely mixing a whole different variety of things. But I went to Johto with a couple of the homies and one of my ex-girlfriends. And then I just threw a little get together with a couple of my closest friends and things like that. So it was pretty cool because it wasn't really too much. I couldn't really go out like that.
Yeah.
Because, it was post-pandemic. But it was pretty cool, you know what I'm saying? But 21 was probably, that year was probably like one of those years where I had a lot of realizing, I had a lot of maturing to do. I had to accept a lot of responsibilities moving forward. So embrace them, you know what I'm saying? The responsibilities that you having moving forward and things like that. Because there's a lot of things that are going to be changing after you turn 21 and everything like that. Especially in the economy, man. Because I know you know a little bit about, you know, the Bitcoin and the stocks and things like that, man.
Yeah.
What's your reaction to these tariffs and things like that? You know what I'm saying?
The tariffs is crazy, but at the same time, you know, I think Trump just moving. He treating the economy like a big business. How you do everything else.
Yeah, but that's kind of crazy.
It is crazy.
It's not just his money.
It's not.
It's our money, and it's a lot of other people's money. You know what I'm saying? So it's kind of crazy. I know, you know.
You got them on China, Canada.
Yeah, Mexico, all these different places. And I'm like, you know, I might want to go down to Cozumel one of these days. And I don't want to end up not coming back because of what's going on with the country and things like that. So I'm always, you know, weary of those different types of things.
I think it was J.P. Morgan or something like that put out some alert that it could be like a 60% chance of a recession or something like that.
Oof. I mean, 60%
this year
is a lot.
That's
more than half. So that means that there's a large probability that there will be a recession. And the last time that happened, it was you know, there's people out there trying to, you know, find food up under the cupboards and things like that. So, you know, hopefully we don't end up in a recession or anything like that. But I was, you know, I don't be watching the news like that, but I was watching it yesterday because my dad was watching the news.
Yeah.
I was telling him, I don't like watching the news because there'd be so many people out here trying to, you know, fear monger and make people feel a type of way about things and whatnot. But I was watching
media propaganda.
Yeah, but I'm watching it and I'm seeing when they, you know, put on different types of different parties. They might put a Republican candidate or a Republican senator or whatever the case may be, or Democratic senator. And I just feel like they're not talking about politics as much nowadays. I feel like a lot of times when they're having these conversations, they're talking about, you know, how their emotions are or whatever the case may be. Like for one segment, for example, they were talking about how they had this extremely right-leaning woman who would be putting a lot of racial and bigoting comments on social media, like on Twitter and things like that. And she was invited to the White House. And I'm like, bruh, before social media, bruh, these people would be writing on newspapers that would be thrown away because they wouldn't be getting this much engagement. But, you know, nowadays, I feel like a lot of the politics is things that you would see in the Boondocks.
Yeah.
And that's how it feels. It's like a lot of these politics that are being politicized and popularized and things like that. It's not for the right reasons. So, you know, it's hard for me to get into it, but right now it's definitely a poignant time to be focusing on politics and things like that, especially for your age group, because, you know, this was your first election that you were able to vote in, correct? Yeah,
but I probably should have voted, but I ain't vote though.
Nah, I mean,
you voted?
Nah, I didn't vote. I'm non-political as my affiliation, not as the fact that I don't engage in politics and things like that. Like I try to be as, you know, informed as possible. I try to do my due diligence and things like that. But it does get tough, especially when the candidates aren't great candidates every single year. And I think, you know, it's two sides of the same bird. You know, the government is working for itself. You know what I'm saying? We already know this.
Picking the poison.
And I'm not a big person of picking the lesser of two evils. I would just rather sit out, you know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, you know, it's a lot that we have to look at. And I know there's a lot of people that are out there that are afraid, and especially with the deportation that's going on with a lot of people. It's crazy. I mean, I was looking at a story of there's this guy who was deported. He's actually a citizen. And he was deported to El Salvador, but when they were talking about his deportation papers, they were like, he can be deported, but just don't send him to El Salvador because we might not be able to get him back. So now he's out there trapped in El Salvador because he was deported over there. And he's in a situation where he's trying to get back. And I'm like, these are situations that, like, a lot of people are afraid are gonna happen to them and things like that. So we just wanna, you know, give encouragement to a lot of people that might be fearful of the political state right now. You know, there's a lot going on, but, you know, a lot of these things are handled by people that are knowing a lot more than us. Yeah. So I think the best thing is to, you know, trust in God and, you know, focus on making sure that everything is handled the way that it needs to be in God's hands and things like that, because, you know, we can only do so much, you know what I'm saying? So But that was, you know, a little bit on the political side. I know a lot of y'all be wanting us to talk a little bit about politics and things like that. But right now, you know, we're gonna bring on Preacher Pat, who's over here in the building, and he's gonna, you know, get a little bit more into our guests and things like that. You know the work. My guy, Pat.
What it is,
How you feeling, man?
Feeling good, man. God is great, you know. God is good all the time, you know.
Yeah, you was talking to me off camera a little bit, talking about you was, you know, out there at the coaching convention, seeing some big women out there.
Man, I was with my dog. There's some big women out here, big Amazonians, a lot of trees to be climbed.
Yeah.
And we're monkeys.
What?
What?
That's how you started. They were monkeys. Oh man, you was at a coaching convention, man.
Yeah, I was with my dog, man.
Did you feel like you learned some things when you was out there? Did you feel like you were amongst the elite when you were out there?
I did learn some things, but what I learned was more like spiritual insight to like what it is,
Right.
to really be observant and to really be discerning of like the environment that you're around.
Right,
Just, you know, for more or less being able to read people, not in the sense of like who they are, but kind of people's intentions, more or less. That's what I was able to garner from that.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And this was like for college, right?
Yeah, man. We'll let our guest get more into it when he come on.
Right.
It was dope though. It was some D1 coaches out there. You know what I'm saying? D2, NAI, JUCO, the whole nine. It was some heavy hitters out there.
Yeah, that's
Wasn't
good.
my speed, nigga. I didn't
He's
care.
He said, "It don't got nothing to do with me. I was out there smarting out."
Yeah, but it was cool though. It was cool.
Nah, that's good. That's good. I say all that to say, you know, college basketball is jumping right now.
I'm saying.
And did you do a bracket this year?
I did. My bracket at like 62%.
Okay.
It ain't bad.
Who got winning?
I gotta stay with Janai. Gotta stay with Janai. Got to. Is he still hurt though?
I don't know what they're saying.
I was watching Sports Center injury update.
Let me see what they're saying on the
came
injury.
on.
Let me see what they're saying on the injury update on him. They're saying he has no limitations with that elbow.
Oh, okay. So yeah, I got to bank on them. Auburn been hooping, and you know, Florida just really ain't surprised me throughout the whole tournament. Like they ain't really just had a statement game.
But that man Walter Clayton Jr. will not let them lose.
You know what's crazy though? It's I'll say 3 of the top 10 players in the Final Four is from this area.
Yeah.
You got Sharp, you got Janai, and you got Clayton.
And then you got the one jet that went to Jesuit.
Who
played for Florida. It's a white boy that was you didn't hear, he had a crazy story. He was the 3-time intramural champ, right? He was the manager for the team for like 5 years, and they gave him an opportunity in grad school for him to play.
And he been dogging shit.
He been balling.
Oh,
little white boy.
You never know. You never know how your story gonna
Straight
turn out.
from Jesuit. He averaged like I want to say like 16 at Jesuit or something like that.
Word.
In 2020, he graduated like 6'3".
Oh, okay, so
6'2"-ish.
Basketball height.
Real, you know, the thoroughbred white boy that you want on your team, you know.
Okay.
Good glue guy energy, you know.
Okay.
Can knock down an open shot.
Okay.
You know, can set a good hard screen.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? One of those lumberjack white men. You know what I'm saying?
All right.
He said, but nah, you know, with the Final Four, and that's what I really want a lot of people to understand, that basketball and Florida and specifically is evolving into a basketball state.
Shout out to Central Florida, man.
You know
Big things going down.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like a lot of people only look at Florida for football and things like that and track.
Florida got them athletes, period, though. Period.
It's a lot of athletes out here that we can, you know, showcase and bring. But I think the thing is we got to be unified as a state.
Right.
Because a lot of these basketball states, like you talk about New York, you talk about New Jersey, you talk about Texas, y'all, you know what I'm saying? It's a lot of these states that they champion being a basketball state. They champion the fact that we have a lot of athletes that are coming here to play basketball.
Facts.
I think Florida's got to step into that.
Florida got it though. We got the Mount Ver's, the IMGs, the Rocks. You know, they come here to hoop. They might not be from here, but they come here.
Yeah. So now we just got to take the people that are from here and put them on that stage,
and elevate it.
And then that's, you know, and we're doing that with the guys that we have out there. You know, so shout out to Janai, shout out to Emmanuel, shout out to a lot of these guys that are from Florida that are playing in the Final Four. Now, I got my guys. Well, I'm not college basketball. I don't really have. I went to Florida Gulf Coast, so we never there. So I don't really have
Know what I'm
a
saying?
team outside of that. But if I had to say a team that I've been telling y'all is going to be the best from the start, Duke. That's who I got.
I ain't gonna lie, Duke looking.
They blowing
They looking
everybody out.
legitimate, fam.
And they handling business.
Nah, for real. They got the big African jit.
Yeah.
Cooper,
Hooper,
Knuppel,
yeah.
Proctor.
Yeah.
They looking real.
And I just got Duke winning by like 15 against Houston. I don't know.
Really?
Just,
Oh, do you talking about for the Final Four?
Yeah, for the Final Four.
I don't know, fam.
That's who I got. I got Houston losing to Duke by like 15.
I ain't never gonna bet against the home team. Shout out to Emmanuel.
I mean,
He's
yeah,
going
that's
crazy. I'm rocking with you to the wheels fall off, nigga.
Coach B out there right now, you know what I'm saying? He out there in
saying?
Houston right now, you know, showing love. But I don't know. It's just something about the way that they play. You know what I'm saying? They play with so much energy.
Duke?
You know, yeah.
They really do, though.
They play with so much energy.
They really do.
You can see that their guys are connected. They got a decent chemistry.
They bought in for real.
Very much so. And the coach, you know, he's been doing a decent thing. You know, it's hard to replace Mike Krzyzewski.
Exactly.
That's a hard thing to do. And last year, you know, they got to the Elite Eight last year, and they weren't able to handle it. So this year, hopefully, they're able to do what they need to do, and you know, I guess come away with it. But I definitely want to see Duke versus Auburn.
Duke versus Auburn.
That would be great. But Florida, like I said, they're not trying to make nobody beat them because they should have lost both of those games. I think
Off the back.
I think personally,
in a real way.
I just found out that Walter Clayton Jr. was a 4-star, 5-star athlete in football beforehand.
Dog.
I'm like,
this Florida.
I mean, yeah, you're right. But still, I'm like a 4-star athlete in football, and you just bet on you and say, I'm just gonna play basketball.
I'm a hoop.
I mean, there's only one other person that I know that did that, but he actually played football beside it. You know what I'm saying?
I thought you was gonna say Randall.
I don't know if Randall ever picked up a football. I don't know about that. Shout out to Randall, though, my guy. You know what I'm saying? But women's side, you know, we got the matchup.
Oh,
we got you. I said
my baby Juju.
I said it. Yeah, no, that's
Juju.
tough. That's tough. We was talking about it last step about the Jaden Daniels situation.
Imagine how big Juju is, bro. And like after going to that convention, she's probably big. Like, she's probably.
He's like, I gotta think about it. No, she probably, you know, she lifted. I mean, you can see it on the State Farm commercial. She got shoulders.
She probably
on.
like 175.
Yeah, she heavier than me for sure.
Yeah,
for sure. She
you got UConn winning it though.
I can't go against Paige, bro.
I don't like how South Carolina looking. Like they look like they expect people to let them win.
Yeah.
When I watch them play,
they look good though. They do look good.
You think
though.
so?
I mean, they made it.
I don't think they look good. Like I really been watching all their games, and I'm just like,
but Dawn, you know,
she pull it out. You know what I'm saying? But
Dawn, you can't bet against her. They get there.
I like UCLA. I ain't gonna lie. That big girl, yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, UConn that's the team.
Who is South Carolina, UCLA, UConn, and who?
They already
Texas.
played. So they already played. So
they already played?
Yeah, so it's UConn versus South Carolina.
For the championship?
Mm-hmm.
Where was I?
They played last night, ain't it?
Oh, word?
Mm-hmm.
Damn.
That's what I'm saying.
I be out the way.
Hey man, look, you was in Texas. You was in Chicago.
I'm going with Texas.
Hey, man.
Wait. Oh, no. You said it's UConn.
Yeah, it's UConn versus South Carolina.
How the girl do? The number 35, the Morgan girl. How she do?
That's the one for UCLA or
no, the one from
Texas?
From Texas.
I gotta see.
Dang, they was able to stop the big girl.
Yeah, man.
What?
Yeah, man. They went to you see? 4th national championship for Dawn. So I mean, I don't know what the numbers was looking like.
I do like Pow Pow.
I know what the numbers looking like, but I just know that UConn got Paige buckets. That's Kobe Bryant and a white woman.
Oh, dog.
So I don't know, you know what I'm saying? But that's, you know, March Madness. If your brackets is busted, everybody's brackets is busted, basically. But, you know, at the end of the day, pick your poison.
Didn't they win last year?
Yeah,
I'm staying in Titletown.
You know what I'm saying? But
yeah, I'm staying in Titletown.
But
we going with SC.
But we gonna bring on our guests. We gonna have Pat do the interview.
You gonna bet against black women? That's what you telling me?
Yeah.
Man, y'all see what it is. I'm here with my dog, my mud brother. You know what I'm saying? Father of 3, coach of Lamar Community College out there in Colorado. Former pro athlete, played pro in Mexico and Serbia. And his team actually ranked for the 2nd highest GPA in the nation. So shout out to my dog, Coach Delino Lewis.
What's going on, man? Appreciate y'all having me.
Yes. But you know, we back like we never left, man. How you feeling today?
I'm feeling good, man. Feeling blessed, being able to have both feet on the ground,
Yes,
waking
sir.
up, drawing breath.
Yes, sir.
Getting
Yes,
both shows
sir.
in the morning, so feeling
So
good.
let's get right into it, man. What do you feel like is the hardest thing making that transition from professional athlete to coaching?
You know, it's one of them things that, one, I didn't even think I was going to be doing.
Right,
Like,
right,
you knew
right.
I was on track to be pre-med and trying to be a doctor
Right,
and all that
right,
good
right,
stuff.
right.
And then next thing you know, I'm coaching, right? I think the biggest transition for me, and this is going on, I just finished year 3. So the biggest thing was learning and trying to make sure that I wasn't impeding what I would have done in this situation,
Right.
and expecting a result from them. So I'm like, oh, in that situation, I would have done this, or
Okay.
this is how I would have responded,
Right.
You know, because I still had that player mindset.
Right,
like,
right.
No, I'm still playing, but you know, you gotta meet the players and my kids and stuff, like where they're at.
Right.
That's kind of the biggest transition for me, at least trying to delineate between those two.
Right. So it's like, okay, let me not project, but let me let this player be who this player is. But at
Exactly.
the same time, steer them within what I'm trying
Yeah,
to
trying to guide them.
move.
Yeah,
Okay.
trying to guide them. You know, not trying to. I mean, you can't change people, right? Like,
100%.
you can't change. You're not gonna change. Now you can mold,
Right.
especially with them being younger,
Right.
And trying to be a positive influence, you know, in their life as much as possible. You know, I could care less about the accolades and stuff
Right.
like that. I just want to make sure that when they leave, can they still call me? Hey, coach, I'm having a baby.
Right.
Come to my wedding, or like,
Right,
you know,
right,
that
right.
kind of stuff. You know,
Like
just-
this is a real relationship.
yeah, genuine connection outside of basketball. I think basketball is just the kind of that foundational piece that kind of bridges us together.
Right.
So now just trying to make sure that, you know, it transcends outside of the basketball.
100. So kind of tell the people how you got into coaching in the first place.
No, for sure. You know, I had just came back. Like you said, I was playing in Serbia.
Right.
Planned on going back. I just signed a contract to go play in Chelyabinsk, Russia.
I don't even know where that is.
Yeah.
It don't even
It's cold.
sound. It don't sound right over there.
It's
I ain't
cold.
gonna lie.
Yeah, man. So, you know, it's and so my agent and stuff, we was talking, and just so happened that was around the time when everything was happening with Brittany Griner. Right. You know, when she got locked up and all that stuff. And so it wasn't the best time for people who look like us to go
be
out there.
over there,
And it didn't help my kid. You know, I'm fair-skinned. I mean, I'm still a young black man. I
Right.
tattoos all over. I
Right.
still have my locks.
Right.
So I'm like, they gonna think I'm a little Brittany Griner.
right,
Like,
right.
so I'm not trying. So it was just wasn't the best case for me to go over there. So I was like, okay, cool. You know, I was still working in the hospitals, EMT and everything. You know,
Yeah.
so I was like, oh, I'll stay here in between contracts and kind of wait. And then my guy was like, hey, like, there's a job. One of my friends, she coaches. Cool, sounds good. Go up there to meet. Next, you know, she was leaving. So I was like, well, I played this game
Right,
before. I
right,
played
right.
college. I was like, I know staff gone, the head coach gone, and everybody gone. Like, I'm not. I was like, well, it look like I'm going back home.
Okay,
So,
I'm out of here.
yeah, and but it, you know, fast forward, and the ADs and stuff were like, you know, why don't you put your name in the hat for the head coaching job?
Right.
I'm like, in my head, I'm, you know,
you
outwardly,
mean?
I'm like, okay, yeah, I'll definitely look into it and try to see what that looks like. But in my head, I'm like,
Coach. I know what a coach look like, nigga, and that's not me.
I'm not a coach. You know, I mean, you know, playing with me, like,
Right.
I was the extension of the coach. I was
Right.
a PG, like,
Right.
you know, Gina, all them coaches was trying to have me right. But no, man, I was like, coaching wasn't, like, going to be something for me.
Right.
You know, because I was, especially still playing, like, I don't want to be locked down. I'm trying to go back
Right.
overseas.
I'm trying to get to it.
Yeah, but anyway, I did the interview. I took the interview anyway.
Right.
And they told me straight up, they're like, you have no coaching experience, like, at all. I had none.
You asked me to put my name in
I'm
here,
like,
nigga. This ain't something I was gonna do.
Yeah, but But they're like, but you did interview the best.
Yeah.
And let's try, like, we were getting new administration and stuff like that. So trying to open it up, and they took a gamble, and
Risk takers.
yeah. And I was like, I mean, we here,
Might as well.
and that's just one thing, we talk about, like, you mentioned earlier, like about discernment and being obedient and kind of following that path without question,
Right.
and not following blindly,
Right.
but being intentional about what
100%.
steps you're taking and going
Right.
forward. So I, prayed on it, talked to my family, and it's a lot, and you don't understand, like, what even our coaches as AAU coaches, like, what they would have went through.
Right.
Like the stuff I see on this side, I'm like, there's no way that I could have been a coach. Like I know we know people been coaching for years, and I'm like, nah, I'm not gonna do this forever, especially after year one.
Right.
Like I was
You
like, yeah,
man,
this
this
dead.
shit.
Like, this dead.
Man, what?
I'm away from my family, sacrificing, being away from my kids.
Right.
But yeah, man. So that's, in a nutshell, that's kind of how I got into
It
it.
sounded like a God thing because it was never what you wanted to do, but what you just fell into.
Yep. Not at all. And I think about it. I'm gonna sit here and lie. I'm human.
Right.
I think about all the time, like,
What
dang,
if?
what if this, and could I have played? And especially because I had a contract offer to go play in DR, Dominican Republic, after year one.
You would have had 9 kids.
Yeah.
Suavemente inside.
But yeah, so I was like, man, I was like, and it was in the summer. Not all leagues, not all the leagues are the same overseas. Right. So they don't go, 6 or 7 months at a time. Some are like 2 months, stuff like that. I was like, oh, it's the summer I can go. And then, bro, I don't know what it was. I was praying, I was watching something, and like something happened, like a commercial came on or something, where I don't know what I was watching. And it was just talking about, your plan versus God's plan,
Right.
And understanding not who you are on this earth, but who you are with Him. And I was like, I just looked up, you kind of, something catch your eye, I was like, what they
Maybe
talking
I'm
about?
not.
And then I was like, you know what? No, I'm a coach.
Right.
Especially I had a lot of people telling me, like, man, you should just go back and play. You should do this. You should do this. You should do this. Everybody else telling me from outside in, like, what I should be doing.
Right, but internally, spiritually.
Yeah, exactly. So
you could always get your Afro-Latina.
yeah,
Right.
like,
She's always there.
I'm in myself, and I'm good. I got 3 kids
know,
already, so
yeah, what I mean?
I'm solid right now. But no, man, it was just one of those things. Like, I was, really allowing, like, my footsteps to be guided in a way where I wasn't physically taking them myself.
That's love.
So
That's love. So transitioning into coaching, what do you feel like is the most challenging piece as far as being a coach?
and that's, something you mentioned about, like, the convention and stuff, right?
Right.
It's me being, kind of give a little context to, the viewers and stuff. I got the job as a head coach when I was 25.
Right. Young.
I'm pretty
Mike
sure.
age.
I'm pretty sure I was the youngest, or one of the youngest coaches.
Same beard.
Yeah, I didn't have a beard. I didn't have a beard. I didn't have a beard. Right, you go back and look at my picture. I look like I was 18 years old.
Right.
People look at me like, you're a head coach.
Yes.
So it wasn't until after. That's the reason why I grew out my beard, because I wanted people to think I was older.
Oh, okay.
Like, especially in the coaching world, I came to the first Final Four. I was like everybody looks like they look like a coach.
Right,
you
right,
got your
right,
picture in
right,
your
right.
mind with a head. Look,
I see you got the coach fit on today.
Oh yes, I look the part now and stuff. But now I'm like actually walking in that walk and stuff like that. But no, I think to answer your question, it's been difficult to say the least.
Yeah.
Especially trying to figure out, like, navigate waters that I've never done before.
Right.
So,
by yourself.
Yeah.
Really no.
Year one, have no assistant, and
Right.
stuff like that. Year two, have an assistant who was also new.
Right.
Which kind of transitioned to what I have now. But it's been
Shout
a
out to
journey.
Body, man.
Yeah, my God. So yeah, bro.
Okay, so it just making that, like, not knowing next because you've never been shown.
Exactly.
Like, how do you want me to deal with this problem if I've never seen this before?
So you gotta lean out onto your own understanding and try to
100%.
find different ways. And of course, like, I can ask God, like, oh, show me the way and
Right,
stuff
right,
like
right.
that. But He's not finna draw up a practice plan.
Right, like, here you go.
So I reach out to people or build genuine connections and
Right.
relationships with people, and not just strictly transactional. Because in this business, what I found out, everybody we've talked.
Everybody trying to get something.
Yeah, like, oh, what can you do for me? What I just want to hear what you do.
Right.
Listen to what you do, see what you do, why
Right.
and how you do it. And so, I have some really great mentors. Samantha Stooks, who is the most winningest coach at Northern New Mexico in her first or second year,
Word.
which was insane.
That's crazy.
So
Shout out to her.
I was having, mentor Mondays and stuff like that with her. Coach Antoine Scales, who's the assistant coach at Wichita State, good brother. So he kind of took me on his wing my first year of JUCO.
Okay,
kind of
that's
showing me the
love.
ropes and stuff like that. So just coming out here, the convention and learning and being a sponge and trying to take in everything.
God will put you in a growing situation, but he'll never leave you without people to direct you.
Exactly.
That's what it sounds like.
Using he trying to work through other people,
So how do you feel like you develop your coaching style, or what is your coaching style?
And it's crazy you say that, right? And going into year 3, you would think like, oh, I'm solidified and this is
Right.
That's not how.
It's ever changing.
It's ever changing. You got to be able to adapt in this business and be versatile within the same thing. Like I said, meet the kids where they are. Granted, recruiting comes into place, and now you start to recruit a certain style of kid and how that works and stuff like that. When I first got the job recruiting, I'm gonna be 100% honest. I said, "Oh, you look like you the best."
Right.
Your film show. I feel like you come play for me.
Right.
So I'm like, "Oh, talent." It ain't got nothing to do with talent now.
Okay.
I'm big on like the new mantra. Trying to find my own stuff. TNT, the stuff that takes no talent. Are you gonna show
The
up on time?
intangibles.
Yeah, you're gonna show up on time. How do you treat your coach? How do you treat your family? How do you conduct yourself outside of this court? Because if you can't,
litter?
Right, stuff like that, right? And you would think that people. I mean, growing up, we grew up with some stringent coaches, right, with certain things.
Right.
But if I say like, hey, we're not finna, we're not wearing earrings or jewelry and stuff, during practices and all that, we can't play with it. And so why would you wear it anyway?
Right.
But people, still kind of doing the things like, oh, I got this, and I'm just like, if I can't trust you to take your earrings off, what makes you think I can trust you in the last 10 seconds of a game?
That's 100%. So how do you what is it like managing so many personalities at one time?
It's challenging to say the least, especially being a young man on like coaching young women.
Right. You never been a woman before.
Right.
I don't know what you're going through. I'm sorry.
So, and that, being intentional, even coming into this, I'm trying to find a female coach to come on staff to kind of help balance this out. But managing, I don't know if you can ever really manage.
Right.
It's more so of just trying to guide them in a direction of to find some sense of a harmony within as a unit.
Right.
Kind of like, hey, we're all in the same goal, same team. Can we find and have solidarity within that?
Right. One band, one sound.
Exactly.
Okay. I was watching a sit down with Coach K and what was the coach from Duke? I mean, not from Duke, from North Carolina. Old white dude, Roy Williams, right? They was having a sit down, and they was pretty much saying over their 40, 50-year tenure of coaching, how they started coaching, they didn't finish. And they had to learn new slang and, new dances and new things to motivate kids. And then I watched I don't know if it was a 30 for 30 or E60 on Bobby Knight, and how he stayed the same from beginning to end. But you can't be yelling and cussing and screaming. They're not going for that.
No, not today.
Not today.
Not today. And even I can contest to that as well. Year 1, I was trying to take from the greatest coaches that I've had, right? That I knew, right? Especially even my mom, right? My mom, little firecracker, like sweetest lady,
playing no games,
but she gonna blow up on you when you need it. But you lock in, right? But we come from that type of cloth where somebody can cuss you out, call you out your name, and do all that stuff. Nowadays,
not going.
Then they're not going for that. Year 1, I wasn't calling people out their names, but I was, animated and doing all this extra stuff. And there was little to no response. You have your 2s and fews that would respond in a way that you're like, that's how I would respond.
Like, this nigga tripping, man.
Right, but that's what I'm talking about. Like, that's the mentality of like, that's how I would respond. I like how you respond. You need to all respond like that when it wasn't the case.
Right. You're like, how?
So
Coach,
really trying to build relationships, because if you know that I support you, right, now I can challenge you.
Right.
And you respect it better because I've supported you in a place of adversity.
Right.
So now it's not just, oh, you just yelling at me for no reason. Like, nah, coach, really, I get what you're saying, coach. Like, I got you.
I think I heard a quote. It was saying like, criticism without a relationship feels like an attack. So before we, wrap it up, what's a piece of advice you would get to young coaches and get to players?
Young coaches, I would say, try your most intentional way of trying to see who you are as early as possible. Reach out to people, talk to people. It's an ever-growing game.
Right.
Learn, take in as much as you can, formulate it, and then reprocess and push it out and be like, this is my brand, this is what I do. Okay. You don't have to do everything that Don Staley do. I can't do what Don does. I don't have the money Don does. Right? You talk about scale-wise, right? Young players too, it's not all about, your play. Of course, your talent and stuff comes into that, right? But, you got to find that right fit, like an acronym that give y'all a little gem. Fit, right? The feeling. Does it feel good to be there? Does it feel good to hear that coach? How are you under their voice? What's your IQ compared to that IQ? Do you feel like you know more than that coach? And if you truly feel that way, find somewhere where you can be pushed and challenged, and don't go for people who are just gonna pat you the best player.
Right.
I told a Division I bounce back kid the other day. I said, you can come here, you'd be great. I said, but I'm gonna push you. And I'm gonna help you better, make you better, in terms of player development side. And that's the I for fit, IQ. And then the T, toughness. Is it tough on you, or are you tough enough to play in that program? Don't shy away from competition, right? Don't compete to try to be better than somebody. Compete to try to make somebody better. Steel sharpens steel.
That's love. Y'all heard it here. Fit, feeling, IQ, toughness. All right, D, I appreciate you.
Appreciate you having me on. Love.
So we back with the work.
Back like we never left. Hey, you know what time it is.
Great segment that you had.
Hey, man, shout out to my boy D, man.
Appreciate the questions that you had, because me as a young coach, sometimes I'm sometimes fearful to ask those questions to certain coaches and things like that. So I think not only does that help younger coaches and coaches that are trying to develop, but it also helps the players understand. You got to have a relationship with your coach and everything like that. And you spoke a lot about faith. So we're gonna wrap it up. But Pat, give us a little bit of something.
The word, man.
A little bit of something.
The word. So we coming out of 1 Corinthians today, chapter 15, verse 33.
How you talking like that? Come on now, get serious.
So basically, what the verse, you can look up the verse, different versions say different things, but the gist of it is bad company corrupts. And as D was alluding to, it's about those relationships, fundamental relationships with people who are able to aid you and pour into you. And I know Coach B talk about it a lot. If you can't look to your circle and see people that you're inspired by or people you aspire to be like in some form or fashion, you're around the wrong people. If you can't go to people and tell them something troubling that you're going through and they don't point you in a different direction, you're around the wrong people.
Right.
Because when God things come across, like D was saying in his story, people are gonna be put, I say it like this, people are assigned to your life. People have an assignment to your life to help you get to where you're praying to go. That's an assignment. When you coach these kids, that's an assignment. When I'm doing my therapy, that's an assignment. When I'm up here, that's an assignment. So it's 1A, I have to align with the things that God want me to do, but B, I have to ensure that I'm able and secure within myself to let people help me. Right. That I'm humble enough to let people chastise me and let people correct me. Because those people are pushing me to be the best version of myself. So remember, 1 Corinthians 15:33, bad company corrupts. What does your circle look like? And when you look at that circle, what does your corner look like? Who going to bat for you? Who fighting for you? Who willing to pick up that phone 2 a.m, and listen to you?
Because you need that sometimes. 2 a.m. 2 a.m, it's some bad decisions that get made at 2 a.m.
Cam about to be 21, and he's 21 today. 2 a.m. Who can you call? I'm on the toilet.
You know what I'm saying? But yeah, man, look, at the end of the day, it's always important to have a good, we've talked about it all day. It's always important to have a good support system. It's always important to make sure that the people in the corner are willing to go to bat for you and
every time.
Like that. So, we're on episode 3, season 3. You know what I'm saying? So that's what 33 episodes.
I'm saying.
Oh no, we got the playlist up there.
33.
Go ahead and tap back in. You know, I'll be doing the cuts and cutting up the stuff for the Instagram and things like that. So I'll be going back on old episodes. I'll be like, we really said that, man.
We be wildin' sometimes.
No, you be wildin'.
I do be wildin'.
You be wildin'. And you know, at the end of the day, we gonna keep getting better. We gonna keep, you know, doing what we need to do for the fans, for the viewers, and everything like that. And the work is always gonna be there. You know who it is.
Shout out to Q. Shout out to Don P.
Exactly. Shout out
Coach
to
B. Delino, Cam.
You know what I'm
Messiah,
saying?
Randall,
Shout out to
Bruce.
everybody that we got out here. You know, it's your boy Preacher Pat. You know, it's your boy Wylie. Gritty ain't here, but you dapping up Gritty in the spirit. You know what I'm saying? That was a wild gesture.
Yeah, it was.
However,
you just beat off a ghost. It's crazy.
Get us out of here, Q, man. The work, man.